In the most dramatic game of the round, it took an overtime against Megalex, but Crvena Zvezda kept a perfect season alive. It's now 8 wins in a row and counting for Partizan after a visit from Karpoš. j.t.d and Budućnost kept the pace up with wins away from home. The heart and soul of Karpoš Sokol is a man who made his debut in ABA League at the age of 19. We are introducing Dragan Labović. Stick around as we have a new list of top 5 plays of the round waiting for you at the end of our show. Welcome to ABA Magazine. Cibona has found a replacement for Ante Žižić in Luka Žorić. The veteran center is back in ABA League for his second stint with the team. Žorić is a well-known face in the regional competition with seasons with Zagreb, Olimpija and j.t.d under his belt as well. He was a member of Unicaja and Fenerbahce before joining the ranks of Real Betis at the beginning of this season. Former Megalex player Miloš Milisavljević will continue his career in the Basketball League of Serbia with Dynamic. The promising point guard arrived to Sremska Mitrovica following the stints with Spartak Subotica, NBDL's Santa Cruz Warriors and Spanish Manresa. In the 8 ABA League appearances for Megalex, he averaged 3 points and 1 rebound per game. Filip Šepa is the new member of Karpoš Sokoli. The Serbian guard signed a contract until the end of the season, following his breakup with Romanian team Craiova. This won't be his first time in Macedonia, as he was previously a member of Kožul. After an interesting final series the previous season, Megalex and Crvena Zvezda treated us to another classic in Sremska Mitrovica. The defending champion managed to keep the perfect season alive after 17 games, but needed an overtime to come out victorious 81-69 and remain undefeated. Home team was without the former Crvena Zvezda player Marko Tejić, but came out of the gates firing nevertheless. Relying on 3-point attempts and with 2 5-0 runs, they overcame a streak of 9 unanswered points by the visiting team and took a game-high 5-point lead. Coach Dan Radonjić's team had to compensate for a lack of 3-pointers with points from the front court. Dion Thompson had himself quite a debut and showed that he could be a great addition to the first-place team in the league. In only 7 minutes, the former North Carolina Tar Heels scored 10 points and grabbed 5 rebounds. Mega struggled shooting for 2 from the field. They made just 4 shots in the entire first half and in almost 7 minutes in the second period had just 1 field goal. Red and Whites used this to their advantage and after a 12-0 run managed to get a convincing lead that they held on to until the halftime break. In the third quarter, visitors held a game-high 12-point lead, but this period was marked by fouls and free throws, which benefited Coach Dan Milojevic's team. Mega went on a 9-0 run and got within 1, but the defending champion responded with a 9-0 run of its own, sparked by Simonovic and followed up by Bjelica. But then came a 5-minute scoring drought for the team from Belgrade. Despite struggling from the field and finishing the game at just 31%, the youngest team in the league never gave up and sent the game into a dramatic finish. After Kuzmic got his team up by 8 with just 2 minutes left to play, it seemed that the EuroLeague participant will win the regular 40 minutes, but Yaramaz Mushiri managed to tie the game. Shooters for the both teams were accurate from the free throw line, so an extra 5 minutes were required in order to get a winner. In the overtime, Zvezda finally pulled out its trademark defense. They held their opponent to just 2 points, forcing turnovers and converting them into 2 3-pointers that were enough to grab yet another win. Kuzmic had a big role in key parts of the game with 16 points and 9 rebounds. Bjelica scored 12, Simonovic 11 and Jovic had 10 points and 11 assists. Scrappy Lazic managed to get 8 rebounds and 5 steals. Yaramas led Megalex with 15 points and 5 assists, while Mushidi added 1 point less. With their best performance this season, FNP took down Igokea in Laktashi. An 84-74 win was important in their battle to avoid relegation. FNP's leading scorer Filip Čović showed that this was going to be his night when he scored 3 three-pointers and got his team ahead. Jonah Bolden joined in on the fun, and after first 10 minutes the visitors were up by 5. When Pasalic took over at point for the struggling Robinson, Igokea finally found some rhythm on offense, picked up on the defensive end as well, and got within 1. But the dynamic duo Čović-Bolden was back at it again, and the buzzer-beater 3 from the Australian gave FNP a 13-point lead at the halftime, 46-33. Coach Branko Maksimovic's team wouldn't let up and went up by the game-high 19 points with 2 minutes left to play in the third period. But one of the 4 threes from Danilo Šibalić in this period sparked a 12-2 run by Igokea, cutting the deficit down to 69-60 entering the fourth quarter. Coach Darko Bajic's team would get within 2 with 7 unanswered points at the very start of the period. However, a series of mistakes on both sides were soon to follow. Igokea had 5 possessions to try to equalize or take the lead, but failed to convert. Stefan Lazarevic played a key role for FNP. His hustle on the defensive end expanded on the other side of the court as well. He drained an important 3 and followed up with a crucial offensive rebound he turned into an assist for a nail-in-the-coffin 3 from Bolden. Filip Čović put in one of the best individual performances this season and lit up Igokea with 36 points, went 9 for 14 from beyond the 3-point range, and added 5 assists for a total index value rating of 42. Bolden was brilliant as well with a double-double of 25 points and 10 rebounds for FNP's 6th triumph and escape from the bottom of the table. In Igokea's 8th loss this season, Šibalić led the scoring list with 17 points. Injury-hampered Zadar managed to give Cedevita a run for their money in Krešimir Ćosić Hall. It was more of a challenge for the team from Zagreb than the 94-80 final score would suggest. Even though Coach Plantak's team was without their leading scorer and rebounder Ivan Marinković and starting point guard Jakov Vladović, a lethargic performance from Cedevita allowed them to take a 7-point lead by the end of the first quarter. Ryan Boatwright managed to wake up the visiting team from a deep slumber in the second quarter. In a shooter's renaissance, there was a number of threes made by both teams. Cedevita managed to score 31, but allowed 25 points, and Zadar held on to a 47-46 lead at the half. In the third period, the visiting team finally started playing harder and more engaging on defense. With a 3 from James and 2 more from Boatwright, a 13-2 run turned into a double-digit lead for Cedevita. At the end of the third and the beginning of the fourth period, Zadar responded with a 12-2 run and came as close as 75-73. But the unstoppable Boatwright was joined in by James and Canan Musa, who made 2 consecutive 3-pointers to effectively put an end to this game and give Cedevita its 12th win this season. Boatwright gets all the credit for this triumph with a 27-point performance, 5 out of 8 from long range, alongside 5 assists. Coach Veljko Mršić's team made 14 threes for the first time this season, and it took them only 27 shots. Musa with 14, James with 13, and Krušlin with 12 points all made important contributions as well. Even though the home team went 11 for 23 from beyond the arc, it couldn't escape their 11th loss this season with 22 turnovers. Out of only 7 players that spent some time on the court, Barac was the leading scorer with 17 points, while Ramljak added 1 less. Cedevita's player on loan to Zadar, Lovro Mazalin, finished the game with 14 points, while Basic had 13 points and 7 assists. With the 8th consecutive win, second-placed Partizan kept a distance at 2 from the third-placed Cedevita and the fourth-placed Budućnost. With Ratkovica, Marinkovic and Robinson all sidelined by injuries, Partizan still managed to overcome a challenge from Karpoš 76-72. With a 10-0 run to open the game, coach Dragan Nikolić's team showed the home team that it was serious about getting that elusive first win on the road. An improved defensive effort resulted in a comeback by the home team. They forced a number of ill-advised three-point shots from Karpoš and went up 21-17 by the end of the first quarter. Black and Whites increased their lead during the second period thanks to Novica Veličković, who brought almost the entire opposing front court into foul trouble. With his stone-cold precision from the free throw line, Partizan grabbed a 9-point lead. But whenever they had the chance to grab a double-digit lead, they would give up and one place, and Karpoš took advantage of the opportunity to get within 34-31 at the halftime. A similar scenario was seen all the way until the end of the third quarter, when coach Aleksandar Džekić's team finally got that double-digit lead with an 8-0 scoring run. At the beginning of the decisive period, Partizan had a stock of 16 points. Bojan Trajkovski, who scored most of his 19 points in the fourth quarter, did not allow the home crowd to relax until the very end. There would be no drama, as the final score suggests, as the visitors managed to reduce the deficit in the dying seconds of the game. Besides the aforementioned Trajkovski, Zoran Vrkić put in a great effort for Karpoš with 18 points and 7 rebounds. Perry added 12, Zekujić 10 and Labović 9 points, but spent only 14 minutes on the court due to early foul trouble. Partizan wasn't in excellent shooting mood, but this was compensated with offensive rebounds and free throws. The leading scorer was the team captain Veličković with 17 points, 7 rebounds and 2 assists and steals. Will Hatcher added 1 point less. Adin Vrabac keeps getting better and better, this time finishing the game with 14 points, 7 rebounds and 4 assists. With 12 points, Stefan Birčević also made an important contribution in an effort to keep the winning streak in all competitions alive. Dragan Labović was a part of the FNP generation that dominated youth competitions at all levels. At the age of 19, he made his ABA League debut, and his performance at the senior level for FNP sent him on a journey across Europe to a number of different teams and leagues. This season, it's been a joy to watch him play for the fans of Karpoš Sokoli. It was a tough start to the season. We made a number of changes to our roster, had a coaching change as well. With the arrival of our new coach came the victories, 5 of them to keep us in the battle to stay in the league. What are the team's goals this season? Our primary goal is to keep our spot in the ABA League for the next season and to make it to the finals of the Macedonian National Championship playoffs. Labović shares his thoughts of the competition in ABA League compared to the times with FNP. Well, some new faces have taken over. I would say the competition was tougher back in my rookie season. In those years you had more elite players, at least 3 or 4 teams in the EuroLeague. But then again, it's just my opinion. Here's what he had to say about the experience of playing in Finland. In my opinion, ABA League is 3rd or 4th in Europe when it comes to quality. In Finland, they play a different style of basketball, much more relaxed. Budućnost grabbed an important win in Novo Mesto, 75-67 over Krka, to keep the final playoff spot in the rankings. Coach Zuro's team hopes to have overcome a crisis with back-to-back wins, while the pit is only getting deeper for the winner of the Slovenian Cup. Krka suffered its 8th defeat in a row and now is second to last on the ABA League standings. Coach Dan Mihevc couldn't count on the entire team once again, with Matic Rebec now out with injury. The team from Podgorica couldn't find their shooting stroke for a long time, so they can thank their front court for keeping them in the game, especially Owen Klassen, who put in his best performance since arriving to the team with 17 points and 10 rebounds. Krka relied heavily on three-pointers and managed to grab the lead in the second quarter, led by Ron Curry. Montenegrin champions seemed to lack ideas on offense, scoring in single digits for a while. However, Williams and Klassen found enough ways to cut a 10-point lead by Krka in half by the end of the second quarter. As the game went on, Budućnost picked up more and more on intensity on defense, and it became harder and harder for the home team to find ways to score. But another barrage of three-pointers came as a cure. Ron Curry once again made sure that Krka entered the final quarter with a minimal lead. However, in the fourth, Slovenian team couldn't score a point for over 4 minutes, and a series of three-pointers by Subotic, Williams and Savovic gave Budućnost a decisive 10-point lead. Besides the above-mentioned Klassen, Williams with 15 points and 10 assists, and Subotic, who scored most of his points in the crucial moments, stood out for the winners. Even 14 offensive rebounds couldn't help the home team end their losing streak, and they finished the game at only 28% from the field. Curry left the best impression with 18 points and 6 rebounds. Lukovic scored 1 point less, but took 21 attempts, while Cebular needed 15 shots to come up with 12 points. Cibona won for the first time since the departure of Ante Žižić, defeating MZT 87-79 in Dražan's Hall. The team from Zagreb found a replacement for their super-talented center in Luka Žorić, who helped Cibona end a two-game losing streak in his debut. Injuries have hampered MZT throughout the season, and this game was no exception. Sinovec and Lalic stayed in Skopje, but Daniel Clark finally returned after a prolonged absence. The beginning of the game was highlighted by a shooting clash between Drenovac and Joksimovic, but a 10-2 run gave Cibona a 21-14 lead at the end of the first quarter. The home team held the lead throughout the second quarter. Reynolds created opportunities for his teammates, while Šakić caused all sorts of problems for MZT's frontcourt. An answer to the challenge came in the form of Drenovac, with the supporting cast providing shots from long range. The Macedonian champion came as close as 43-41 by the end of the first half. With a three from Drenovac, MZT tied the game at the beginning of the second half, but Scotty Reynolds decided to take matters in his own hands. Toying with opponent's defense, constantly creating looks from the pick and roll, he kept assisting and scoring to a tune of 69-58 Cibona lead at the end of the third period. MZT seemed powerless to stop Cibona with a short-handed rotation, but the Dutchman Charlon Clough had other ideas. He highlighted an amazing run with a three-pointer to give MZT the lead with 5 minutes left to play. However, Cibona's players were more focused in the final moments, and Šakić and Reynolds were responsible for their 11th triumph this season that keeps them in the playoff hunt. Šakić scored 26 points, while Reynolds added 17 and 13 assists. Drenovac was the leading scorer with 27 points for the team from Skopje that stayed glued to the bottom of the standings with a 4-13 record. Mornar is a step closer to keeping a spot in the ABA League next season with an important win over Olympia 93-70 in Bar. Coach Pavličević's team played one of their best games in front of the home crowd. They held the lead for all 40 minutes, made 12 out of 25 three-pointers and went 50% for two. However, the key to a resounding win lies in the defense. Mornar's top scorer Lamont Jones took on a defensive role completely. His assignment was to stop one of the league's leading scorers in Brandon Jefferson. Bakic and Mijovic followed his lead and kept the point guard from Ljubljana scoreless in the first half. Coach Okorn had to rely on Mulalic and Jankovic to provide points, but the ABA League debutant had a lot more options on offense and finished the first half with a 17-point lead. The game continued on in the same rhythm. The home team dominated both sides of the court, and Olympia couldn't cut the deficit under 10 points. Mugosha had a hot hand, and as he made 6 of his 7 three-pointers on his way to 19 points, it became apparent Olympia would have to settle for another defeat. Ellis scored 19 points as well and added 8 rebounds. Vukota Pavic was the MVP of the game with 20 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists and 2 steals. Waller broke out of his slump with 11 points. Mirko Mulalic led Olympia with 18 points. Brandon Jefferson finished the game with 15 points, while Jankovic recorded another double-double, 11 points and 10 rebounds. This was Olympia's 10th defeat this season, while Mornar grabbed an all-important 6th win. The most valuable player of the 17th round of ABA League was Filip Čović. FNP's captain was on fire in a win over Igokea in Laktaši. Čović led all scorers with 36 points. He made 9 out of 14 three-pointers, grabbed 3 rebounds, dished out 5 assists and added 2 steals for an index value rating of 42 and the MVP of the round honors. We start our top 5 plays of the round review in Sremska Mitrovica, where Rade Zagorac pulled out a stop sign for Milko Bjelica on a fast break. Fourth place goes to our old friend Octavius Ellis with another slam dunk for Monar's big man. The American from Krka, Ron Curry, knows a thing or two about blocking shots as well. Partizan's alley-oop combo, Hatcher and Vrabac take second place. Top play of the round is yet another alley-oop. Čović for Bolden for the top spot on our list.